Hi guys, this is Christy of Family of Adventurers, and we're talking today about the difference between a magic ring and a slip stitch ring for when you are trying to crochet in a circle. So this little guy, this is a little gumdrop monster, and I'll totally put the link on the bottom for the pattern on how to make this guy. He is made in rounds, so you can see there at the top there's a round here, and you can see that there's almost no hole there, which is pretty characteristics of amigurumi, which means that's Japanese for small crochet. This guy is made in two parts, the top and the bottom, well, more than two parts, but the top and the bottom. And again, you can see that it is done in the round. In order to create this tight little round, you need to know how to do the magic ring. So I'm going to show you how to do a magic ring so that you can do your favorite amigurumi pattern. And I'm also going to show you how to do a regular slip stitch ring. Okay, so let's start with the slip stitch ring because I think that's probably the easiest one to do, and that's what everybody starts off with. I know that's what I started off with. So the first thing you want to do is you want to do a slip knot. So you go over the finger, twist, and then come back, and then it goes front over back, and now you've created your slip knot. Okay, you're going to put your hook into the loop, and depending on your pattern, most of them will tell you to chain 4 to 6. So I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then to create this round, you go back and you stitch into your first stitch and join the stitches with a slip knot. So a slip knot, you just go through both loops, and now you've got it's connected in a round. Okay, then you chain 1 and you go into the circle in order to create your stitches. This one is a really good one. It's a good size to do 12 stitches, 12 single crochets into the middle. And what that does is that gives you a nice space to work off of. At the moment, I am elbow deep in puff stitch flower, so this is actually my stitch for the flower. And you just continue to go, and it's all single crochets. So pull through. That's 3 stitches, excuse me, and you do this for 12 times. If you're really good, and sometimes I am, if you're really good, you actually hold on to that tail so that it gets stitched, it's sort of woven into your circle. And sometimes I do it right. Okay, so I'm going to do this for 12 times, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you what it looks like at the end. Okay, so we've done the 12 single crochets into the circle. And so to finish this one off, so you don't want to just leave it hanging like that, you want to go ahead and do a slip stitch into your first stitch. So you go put the hook through, yarn over, and pull through both. And then you want to go ahead and finish off, tie off. So yarn over, pull through like you're chaining, and then you go ahead and clip it and pull it tight. So now so you don't really want this hole when you're doing amigurumi, so you don't necessarily use the chain 4 slip stitch to create your rounds. Instead, what you use is you use something called the magic ring. Now, it took me multiple tutorials to get this, which is why I'm trying to make one that is a little less confusing. For whatever reason, I couldn't get it. So it took me like 3 turns. So the first thing you do is okay, so here's the magic ring. It's a fancy weaving in the beginning, and then it's pretty standard. Okay, so you're going to hold the end here, and then you're going to wrap around, and then you're going to wrap around again, and you're going to make sure that you cross over. Okay, then you're going to go under your first one and pull this through to make a loop, and then you're going to yarn over and chain 1. Okay, that's your first stitch, kind of. Okay, I would suggest chaining 1 more time so that you have something to yarn into at the end, and then you start single crochet into the middle. So here we go. We've got our first little knot. This is kind of our slip knot. It will slip out if you take out your hook, so don't lose it. I sort of hook my finger here and hang on to the other side of the circle So you'll have this big loop in order to get good anchoring, and then you chain into the middle with your first single crochet. There's one, and you just continue to do that, 2, sometimes it'll slip on you, so this is where it's good to just sort of readjust. There's 3. Okay, if it feels like you're running out of room, don't worry. It's sort of the magic of the magic ring. Just pull a little bit and now you have more room to chain onto, because you kind of want this tail to be hanging out. So I'm going to go and I'm going to do my 12 stitches and I'll be right back. So here we go. We've got those 12 stitches done, and you might say, well, that's not very round at all. But you can see there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way to then. So you're asking me, how do I get that super tight little hole? Well, remember that little tail that we were talking about earlier? There's the magic in the magic ring. If you pull on the tail, it will help to close the ring. So my suggestion is, before you completely close the ring, to go ahead and finish it off. So if you remembered correctly, you went ahead and you chained one before you started your single crochets, and that is what you're going to slip stitch into in order to finish it off. So here I am slip stitching into that first chain 1, and now that's done. So I'm going to slip stitch one more. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it so that I can finish off my magic ring. And then you're like, wait a second, it's still really big. What do I do? Well, all you got to do is that other little tail, you give it a tug until you get the circumference that you want. So on this one, it's nice and tight. I don't have any gaping holes. I don't have to worry about stuffing coming through or anything like that. And it is done, ready for me to do my second round or my third round or whatever I want to do with it. I probably would not use that for any of my puff stitch or anything like that, but this is definitely how you start most of your amigurumi patterns. Okay, so you can see there is a tiny, tiny little hole, but it's much smaller in comparison to your slip stitch round. Okay, so there's the difference between your regular chain 4 slip stitch to circle and then your magic ring. So you're probably going to need to watch the video more than once. I know I did when I first started. So do me a favor, give me a like, check out the blog for all of my latest projects and crochet, and I hope to see you guys later. Bye.